Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mitapad Paramahansa Padadikacharya Ashtotter to the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padadikacharya Ashtotter to the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All right. Now we got a mitzvah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 26th day of November 2019 in SanDiego, a reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in Chapter 7, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, text 25 on page 336. Hi, Bo Suresh. I thought you were next door learning how to distribute books.
No.
You'd be big. You'd be big. They wouldn't say no to you. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Page 336. All right. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samarvritaha mudhoyang nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samarvritaha mudhoyang nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samarvritaha mudhoyang nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Go ahead, bro. Naham prakasha sarvasya Yogamaya samavrataha mudhoyam na bijanati loko mamajamabhyam. Dhamaraj. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam na bijanati loko mamajamabhyam. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam na bijanati loko mamajamabhyam. Go ahead, Marcy. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam na bijanati loko mamajamabhyam. Okay, I'll read the synonyms. Not nor aham I, prakasha manifests, sarvasya to everyone, yogamaya by internal potency, samavritaha covered, mudha foolish, ayam these, na not, abhijanati can understand, lokaha persons, mam me ajam unborn, abhyam inexhaustible. Now before I read this translation, this word inexhaustible at the end there, abhyam, it's supposed to be also in the translation, so I'm going to read that instead of infallible. It's been changed. Translation. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and inexhaustible. Purport. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, then how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? But actually he was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the assembly of Kurus, when Shishupal spoke against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported him and proclaimed him to be the Supreme God. Similarly, the Pandavas and a few others knew that he was the Supreme, but not everyone. He was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that but for his pure devotees, all men consider him to be like themselves. He was manifest only to his devotees as the reservoir of all pleasure. But to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, he was covered by his internal potency. In the prayers of Kunti in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.19, it is said that the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yogamaya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand him. This Yogamaya curtain is also confirmed in the Ishopanishad mantra 15, in which the devotee prays, Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushanna pavranu satyadharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service to you is the highest religious principle. Therefore I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by the Yogamaya. The Brahmajyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Satchidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his transcendental form of bliss and knowledge is covered by the internal potency of the Brahmajyoti, and the less intelligent impersonalists cannot see the Supreme on this account. Also, in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.7, there is this prayer by Brahma. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all mystery, who can calculate your potency and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your internal potency, and therefore no one can understand you. Learned scientists and learned scholars can examine the atomic constitution of the material world, or even the planets, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency, although you are present before them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is not only unborn, but also abhyaya, inexhaustible. His eternal form is bliss and knowledge, and his energies are all inexhaustible. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. Time out. So the theme of this chapter, if you go back to text 1, what do we hear? Krishna says, Maya Saktamana Parta Yogam Yunjan Marashya Sangsayang Samagam Namyata Gyasati Tachunu. The Supreme Lord said, now hear, O son of Prita, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So the whole point of this chapter is how we can know Krishna. And the answer is, the basic answer is, we can't know him on our own power. But if we please him, he'll reveal himself proportionally to our devotion. That's the key. We can't, Prabhupada, how many lectures, I listen to the Prabhupada lecture every day, and so many of those lectures, he says, so many people say, can you show me God? Can you show me God? And so Prabhupada says, do you have the eyes to see God? This is the problem. We want to see the transcendent Lord. The very word transcendence means beyond the range of our material senses. And yet we want to see with these nonsense senses. In other words, very limited. So these questions are basically put by the atheists. They're full of doubt, and they're looking for ways to deepen that doubt, so that they'll be completely convinced that there's no God. It can't be. This is their mission. So Krishna, in this chapter, he's giving us a very practical means by which we can come to know him gradually, progressively. Remember from the previous chapter, it's all about Ashtanga Yoga. And at the end of that, or near the 2/3 way of the chapter, Arjuna, he pleaded inability. Because Krishna is describing, all right, you go alone to the Himalayas, in a sacred place, you sit down, you practice pranayama, no association, no sex life, no anything. And then you work on the mind. It's just you and the mind, right? The mind is your best friend and your worst enemy. Udaret atmanatmanam, natmanam avasariyet, atmaivan atmano bandhur, atmaiva ripuratmana. Bandhu means friend, ripu means enemy. One should elevate oneself by the mind, not degrade oneself. The mind is the best friend of the living entity and his worst enemy as well. Now, without a spiritual discipline or yoga under the guidance of the Shastra and the Guru and the Sadhus, we're sure to be victimized by the mind. It's the mind that's the vehicle of keeping us bound to this world birth after birth. You read the 15th chapter, it's very clear. It's that mind that's filled with all of these unfulfilled desires, plus your karmic record that's there, that impels you to another body, all by supervision from higher beings. What does it say? Karmana daivanetrena jantu deho papatye. Karmana means by your activities. Now your activities are done with consciousness, so whatever you do affects your consciousness. So but those activities are being recorded. Daivanetrena, the supervision of the Daiva. Daiva includes the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, as well as higher beings and Yamaraj and everyone else. So you're not hiding anything. Everything you're doing and thinking and desiring is a record of it. So that's all recorded in your mind. When this gross body dies, the subtle body does not die. The mind, intelligence, and ego encase the soul, and then your next gross body is already decided by the time you leave this body. And boom, in you go. It could be human, could be subhuman, rarely superhuman, not from this plane. And off you go. Now you have a whole new identity. You forget this body. It's just like, and you start your new identity. And so, in that situation, it's fraught with forgetfulness of Krishna. That's the whole idea. That's why we're here. There's this verse in the 11th canto. Maybe some of you, it rings a bell. Bhayam tvatiya abhinavesha taksyad isha dapetasya viparhayo asmati tanmahayato bhura abhajetam bhaktyakayesham guru devatatma. This is spoken by one of the 9 yogendras, the exalted yogi sons of Rishabdev. He had, of course, Bharat was the main son. He was ruling the world. And he had 100 brothers, 9 of whom became yogis. They just renounced. And the other 90, they helped Bharat. They took various positions. So that was the rule. And Rishabdev peacefully took sannyas. So these 9 yogendras, they're highly realized souls. And in the beginning of the 11th canto, they meet Maharaj Nimi. And being a very pious soul, a devotee, he immediately asks them questions, the ultimate questions. The first question is, what's the ultimate good? And how can I achieve that? This is the first question we should ask. So it's interesting that he begins the answer in terms of how we can overcome fear. Because the nature of material life is it's fraught with all kinds of anxiety and fear. That's why Vaikuntha means the place where there's no anxiety. Now, this material world is a place where it's fraught with all kinds of anxiety. And in fact, the sense gratification acts like a drug to help you forget your actual situation. To try to forget your mortality, the danger you're in, right? We're in a very, different, vipadak, what is it? Padam yad vibadam natesha. How to overcome this dangerous world. Shukadeva Goswami explains, samashritaya padapallavaplavam, you have to get onto the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, and you can carry you across this ocean. But the yogendras explain, this first yogendra, there's 9 of them. I think this is Kavi Yogendra who begins to speak. And he has a very important verse, this verse, Bhayam tuti. Where does fear originate from? If we're being protected by the strong arms of God, and we're completely confident of that, there's no fear. Just like a little child is completely taking shelter of the parents, and he has his father next to him, so he's fearless, as long as he's holding on to the father, right? So we have the Supreme Father in Krishna. And if we are really surrendered and we're on the lotus feet, we won't feel any fear, even in this material world. So fear arises when we turn our back on God, the Isha, Isha petasya, viparyo smriti, and we become absorbed in the material energy, trying to exploit and enjoy this energy, forgetting that it belongs to God. And everything becomes reversed, viparyo and asmriti, we forget everything. The Yogamaya or the Mahamaya comes. Yogamaya expands as Mahamaya. They're really the same person. The Mahamaya aspect of Yogamaya makes you forget Krishna. That's where we're in Mahamaya right now. The Yogamaya aspect, the internal energy, helps you remember him even more intensely by covering his majesty and just leaving the sweetness. You know what I mean? Like Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda is so exalted. She's simply, from her love, because of her love, Krishna covers his majesty and he appears just like a little helpless child to evoke her love. You see? And we just finished Damodar month, and as we're celebrating Krishna's being a mischievous little boy, right, breaking the pot of yogurt, running from his mother. He gets caught by the mother. This is God running. And he's caught, and she's scolding him. And he's crying. He's rubbing his eyes, and the tears are coming and washing away his little mascara. Why does he do that? Because he enjoys that much more than the official God. I'm a very God-fearing person. He doesn't like that. If you were God, would you always want to be feared? Everybody fear you all the time? Oh, okay, I'll do whatever you say. Oh, can you please give me this, give me this, give me this? As most people think that's religion. But actual religion is, what is it? That which engenders devotion to adhokshaja. Now this brings back the theme of this verse, which is that Krishna is adhokshaja. The Prabhupada explains this word. Sanskrit is a very intricate language. This one word, adhokshaja, is made of 3 words. Adha, aksha, and ja. Now, aksha means the eyes or all the senses. And aksha, ja is short for janma or birth. That which is born from the senses, that knowledge which is born from your investigation, the ascending path, that kind of knowledge, scientific knowledge, which we rely on, it's built up everything. That, Krishna pushes that down. Ada means down. In other words, he's beyond that. In other words, transcendental. transcendental to the reach of the material mind and senses. We have to accept that. Then how can we know? We're helpless. Yes, we are helpless. But we have one thing we can do. We can approach that person or that source of knowledge which is revelatory. In other words, Krishna has revealed himself in the Bhagavad Gita. When it's presented as it is by someone who knows Krishna, then it has the potency to reveal Krishna right on the page here. He's explaining himself to us. If we accept it in a humble frame of mind, without doubt, then gradually Krishna will reveal himself through the very Bhagavad Gita, through the holy name. If we chant with the proper attitude, purely, then Krishna will reveal himself through the holy name. So that's how we can know Krishna, by doing those things that will induce him to reveal himself as he is. And that's what he says at the beginning of this chapter. Now I'm going to tell you how you can know me in full, free from doubt. So instead of saying, "Oh, go to the forest, go here and just meditate," that's not what he says. He says, understand first of all your environment, how I'm here in your environment, solid matter, liquids, gases, the air, the radiant energy, the space, your mind, intelligence, and ego. These 8 form my external energies. They're my energies, and you're my energy too. That it says, besides these 8 lower energies, which are not conscious, they're lower, inferior. There's a higher energy of mind, which consists of the living entities who are sustaining this universe, trying to exploit it. Dravida Dasa. And everything in this world is a combination of those two. So everywhere you look, there is God's handiwork. There's not a place you can look, whether it's the living beings, some forest or ocean or everywhere. It's all made up of his energies. And then he gives us hints how we can see him there. You're going to taste some water? That's me. Your experience of water, what is it really? It's you, the living entity, coming in touch with the water through the vehicle of your external senses, your tongue, whatever it is. That's all my energies. I just explained it. So where am I not there in that experience? I'm the taste of water. I'm the light of the sun and the moon, the fragrance of earth. So this is the first step in God realization. By understanding your environment to be a manifestation of divine energy. So that should help us to remember Krishna. But here's the rub. When we try to exploit those elements for our own pleasure, Maya curtain comes down and we forget all about Krishna. You can't be trying to enjoy the property of someone else and at the same time remembering them. It's just like a burglar. The last thing he wants to see is the owner of the house come home. He wants that, you stay yours, I want to forget about you. So so bhakti is implied here, and in fact it comes in at the end here. So now what he's also covered, after he describes all that, he describes different kinds of people who surrender to him. Right? He says, after many, many births of cultivating knowledge, you know the verse? Bahunam jamanamante, gyanavan mampapajyate, vasudeva savmiti, samahatma sadurabha. Very important verse, text 19. So he's saying that verse comes as a culmination of verses. He describes who comes to me, who I will reveal myself to. Well, there's 4 kinds of pious people. They're not pure devotees, but they're pious because they come to me. The arto jigyasu artati jnani chabbarabharshita. The first and most numerous group is those who are troubled in this world. People go to church because they need protection, from the dangers of this world. Or they go and they pray, my aunt or my brother or myself has some disease, So that's arta. Arta means the troubled. Or they go for prosperity. This always reminds me of the what I used to know as the Protestant ethic. When this country was founded, it was mostly Protestants who came over from Europe. There was a whole religious wars going on in England and other places. The Catholics were going against the Protestants and vice versa. So a lot of Protestants came over and they founded the first Puritans. I think they weren't Catholics; they were Protestant. So their idea, which is right here in the Bhagavad Gita, we're going to go to church very, very strictly. They built churches everywhere. And pray like anything. And by being proper, worshippers of God, we'll get, here, Prabhu, Haribol, Harekrishna, Haribol, Haribol. Can't hear? Please, yeah. Oh, he's not hearing so well. Yeah, make sure he has a book. Yeah, you can have a book. The book you can take. They would hope to prosper. I mean, it's a dangerous world. They're just alone. The first, the pilgrims. There's all these Indians. Native Americans, and so that was their idea. For prosperity and safety in the new world, we're going to become very religious. This is artarti. This is the idea for prosperity. And this is just like dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma for the sake of artha. If we're very strict and we perform the rites, we worship the gods, then we'll get artha. We'll prosper. Because we're pious. We won't perform any sin. And then we'll have sense gratification. Dharma, artha, kama, dharma. Now in the present world, with the growth of technology and industry and everything, people say, well, we're just going to do the industry. We'll do the artha and kama, and forget about the dharma. They're worshipping at Moloch or Mammon. So but that leads to sin. Nunam pamatta kurudevi karma, and then a lot of suffering from that. So Krishna is saying that those who are really knowledgeable, they're the curious also, which is good. Those who have some understanding and they approach me, they're the best of all. And then it culminates in this verse. After many, many births of such pursuing knowledge, they understand, they surrender to me. Understanding that Vasudeva, Krishna, is everything. That's what he just described. These are all my energies, everything you see. You yourself are my energy. You're my superior energy. You're dear to me because of that. But it's all my energies. And therefore, there's nothing but Krishna. On the other hand, those whose knowledge has been covered by material desire, they surrender to all these different gods for material prosperity, to fulfill the kama, you see? And they worship, they have faith in this god, this tree, whatever it may be. Whatever you want to have faith in, I'll make that faith strong. So there's all these different faiths going around. And, and people are at each other's throats because of that. And then whatever you get or think you get because of that worship, it's actually coming from me. But you're not recognizing that. You're thinking it's coming from your politician. That's another form of worship. Right? And so, ultimatism. Those who are foolish, they're striving for these temporary benefits, antavat, that has an end. Then the key phrase, those who worship the gods will go to the gods, or you go wherever you worship, but those who worship me come to me. Then he says, those who are really fools, they think that I am derivative from the impersonal. Avyaktam vyaktamapana manyate mama buddhaya. Again, abuddhaya means foolish. They think that the impersonal, or the oneness without variation, the Brahman, white light, that's the supreme. And Krishna is a derivative from Brahman. Behind Krishna is the bright light. No, Krishna is the source of that light. It's his bodily effulgence. So we've gone through all those verses to this point. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we are in. Now he also said that in between there, that you can't overcome this material energy, which is made of the three modes, without surrendering to me. So this is the real means to get revelation and to get safety, by surrendering to Krishna. Then he says there's 4 kinds of people who don't surrender. The mudhas, the fools and rascals, lowest of mankind. Those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and the out and out demons, the asura and bhavamasha. So we've been through all that, and then he describes the foolish demigod worshippers, and then he described the avyaktam vyaktam apanam, which I mentioned, how those who think that Krishna is derived from the impersonal, And now the present verse that we just read, which is Naham Prakasha Sarvasa. I am not manifest. I hide myself from all but the devotees. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, in the 18th chapter, it all comes down. Only by bhakti can I be understood, that he proportionately reveals himself. So that's where we are, and we're almost near the end of the chapter. So I thought we'd have a little review. And if there's no discussion, we can read another verse. Are we good? Text 26. Yes?
Simple question. Effulgence.
Effulgence means a shine, brilliant shine. It's like the sunshine. That's what effulgence means. Bright, yeah. Krishna is effulgent. That's why you see the paintings also, you see there's always a little light around his head, indicating that he's self-effulgent. That's it. Text 26, page 338. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjana bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kashtana. O Arjun, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Purport. Here the question of personality and impersonality is clearly stated. If Krishna, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were Maya, material, as the impersonalists consider him to be, then, like the living entity, he would change his body and forget everything about his past life. Anyone with a material body cannot remember his past life, nor can he foretell his future life, nor can he predict the outcome of his present life. Therefore, he cannot know what is happening in past, present, and future. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, he cannot know past, present, and future. Unlike the ordinary human being, Lord Krishna clearly says that he completely knows what happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and what will happen in the future. In the 4th chapter, we have seen that Lord Krishna remembers instructing Vivasvan, the sun god, millions of years ago. Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's heart as the Supersoul. But despite his presence in every living entity as Supersoul and his presence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the less intelligent, even if able to realize the impersonal Brahman, cannot realize Sri Krishna as the Supreme Person. Certainly the transcendental body of Sri Krishna is not perishable. He is just like the sun, and Maya is like a cloud. In the material world, we can see that there is the sun, and that there are clouds and different stars and planets. The clouds may cover all these in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision. The sun, the moon, and stars are not actually covered. Similarly, Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord. By his internal potency, he is not manifest to the less intelligent class of men. As it is stated in the 3rd verse of this chapter, out of millions and millions of men, some try to become perfect in this human form of life. And out of thousands and thousands of such perfected men, hardly one can understand what Lord Krishna is. Even if one is perfected by realization of impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma, he cannot possibly understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, without being in Krishna consciousness. So this verse always kind of never ceases to kind of astound, when you actually think about what it means. To know everything that has happened in the past. I mean, it's inconceivable. But that's the standard. There's these 3 qualities that even in the Western theology are kind of ascribed to God. Omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. So Krishna, he shows those in various ways in his Leela. We just had the Govardhan Leela recently, and the holding up of the hill, for 7 days. And of course, he went, sometimes his hand shook, the thing in the Nectar Devotion where he's looking at the gopis and his hand shakes a little bit and everything. Oh my God. That's why you see the coward men with their sticks holding up trying to help out, But just on the level of what normal people understand God to be, the creator of this world, that in itself is just an astounding display of power, of energy. Because everything is moving in this world on energy, the sun, right? All of this, the cars moving and all of it, we're burning all the fossil fuels. Well, if you just accept for a moment what the scientists say, yeah, where is that energy coming from when you burn the fossil fuels? It's originally coming from the sun. It's stored in the fossils, right? The plants and everything, they made, in millions of years, they made the oil, right? And then they burn it and they release the energy. It's all coming from the sun. But the sun is just one planet, right? It's just one, there's millions of suns, there's millions of universes. So that has all been created by Krishna. I mean, the basic principle, Prabhupada would come back to again and again, is that even if you just approach as best you can with your reason, everything is arranged in such a way, there's so much information. I remember I used to live with Sariputta, believe it or not, back in the early 80s. When he was writing his first book, it wasn't even a book, it was like a mathematical treatise, because he was a high-flying, mathematician, PhD, and it had all these equations in it. I couldn't understand it, but he, it's like the first page you can't really understand. But he, I believe that he proved what he set out to prove, and the title of it, proof by information theory. This was his specialty in math. There's different specialties, like in any science. Proof by information theory that life cannot arise from matter, and he analyzed, by equations and multiplication, all the information that's contained in the universe, even just in one planet. Information means, like in this pillar, this one part of this, not even the whole building, but just this one section. Well, look at it. This organization, you can see someone figured it out, and someone painted it. All of that is information. They painted it one way, not another. It's not just a, random collection there. There's somebody's intelligence is placed in there. That's what's so nice about this temple, because it's all done with the theme of evoking your God consciousness, your Krishna consciousness. Even this very form, uplifts the mind. You know what I mean? I remember when I was I went to India one year, and I, of course, wanted to get the cheapest flight. So the cheapest flight went through Bucharest, Romania. And we stopped there. We had to stay overnight, and it just, the Soviet Union had just crashed, and the guy who was hanging on there, I forget his name, but he was a real demon. And he had just been hauled off. I think they executed him. Are you from Bucharest?
No, I know political history, but
Okay. So maybe, I forget the exact year, but it was the early 90s, right? And maybe
coming about 1989.
89, yeah. So this Romania was around that. Anyway, it was a $700 flight round trip to India, which was great at that time. And but we had to spend a night in Bucharest, So I mean, the communist culture was still there, It was just like a year, So we get off the plane, and all these guys in these black leather jackets. And who are these guys, And they turned out to be just regular guys. But the secret police had worn those jackets, so they wanted to get that, to be thought of as strong and, part of the government. So they all bought these jackets. So it was like, what's going on here? And then, and everything was bleak, I mean, we got to see the city. And the architecture, it was Stalinist, just like a radiator, you know what I mean? Just to oppress the spirit, And I said, whoa, this is horrific, the people have been living like this, and they were just kind of waking up out of it, So architecture is very important, and this whole building, and of course especially the inside, has been designed to uplift the spirit. You walk in here, and it's not an ordinary place, So that means that intelligence was put into it, transcendental intelligence, with certain, ideas, the colors, the forms, everything. So that's all information. But wherever you look, even you go into nature, there's so much information. It's not a human being that's created. The trees and the things, and the light, the sun and moon coming up just the right time. So all of that is an indication of, dare I use that phrase, intelligent design. Is that? That's like a dirty word, right? In college.
Yeah, especially these
Oh, you're one of those creationists, huh? Are you kidding? We've graduated from that. We know there's no such thing. It's all came about by chance, you know. But actually, it's impossible. I remember Sariputta was telling us how, because you have this idea of, but there's these simple one-cell organisms, you know. And then from those many millions of years, they get together and they gradually build up. But there's no such thing as a simple one-cell organism. He said that now that they've been able to get inside, you know, those parameci and see what is going on, they say that it's more complicated than New York City. Every one of them. You know, there's all these chemical reactions going on precisely. There's no such thing as a simple. No matter how deep you get into this world, you know, back into the atom and everything, there's intelligence. You know, the super soul is there. The supreme intelligence, every atom. So the idea is that if there is intelligence, and there is, even a child can see it, there has to be a person. Because there's not a free-floating intelligence. That means there's a person behind the intelligence. And you know, when you take it back, this first verse of the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, you know, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Savakarana Karanam. The supreme controller is Krishna. He has a body, he has a form of eternity, bliss and knowledge. He's not formless. He has a form, and we have a form. He has a form. He has no beginning, but he's the beginning of all. Adi Govinda. But he has pastimes. Govinda recalls his time in Vrindavan. It's not just a force, you know, he's a person. And then, Sarvakarana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. There has to be an original cause of everything, and Krishna declares himself to be. So, then the question is, well, it sounds pretty fantastic to me, you know, let me go do something else. But the point is that, okay, now why should we believe this? This is a very important point, because all of these great acharyas, these towering intellects in the past have believed. And they haven't just believed, they have revealed. They said, yes, we're experiencing this. You know, we're experiencing Krishna, we're seeing him, and he is like this, it's confirmed. Brahma's the first one, you know, but if you don't believe in Brahma, well, we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, all the parampara. And they're all, and so we're saying, well, I mean, either you're all deluded, or you're trying to run a scam on me or something. I don't believe it. But who are we not to believe it? It's like, you know, somebody comes back from Bhutan. Has anyone here been to Bhutan? No. You know that one of the largest books in the world is produced in Bhutan? Have you ever heard of that? It's this big book all about Bhutan, which is a little corner, it's like near Tibet or something, right, of India. So, why should I believe in Bhutan? Well, okay, we got these pictures, we got the description, we have other... But the pictures, they can be faked, you know? You know, you say you went there, but maybe you want to sell me something, you know? In other words, you can have absolute doubt and disbelieve anything but your own senses. But all the time, we believe people who we trust. You know, this is one of the problems now. You heard of the deep fakes, right? You didn't hear about deep fakes? You know about it. For me, or maybe I'm trying to run a scam. No. The point is, deep fakes, because of the video technology, they can make anyone say anything on the video. Yeah, you know. In other words, you're saying something, you're doing things. It's so expert that it looks like the real thing. How can we trust anymore? There's video evidence, but that can be faked. There's a real problem today. Who can we trust to tell us the truth? You know, from the top, you know, yad yadachadati shrestas. If you don't have some shared truth or facts, how can you have any society if you just trust everyone, you know? So this is where Krishna consciousness begins, really, with faith. Remember how Krishna says at the beginning of the 9th chapter? He says, Rajavidya Raja Guyam, this is the king of knowledge, is Krishna consciousness. It's the most confidential. It's happily performed. It gives revelation of me. But Ashradhana Purusha Dharmasyasa Parantara, those who have no faith in this dharma, in this religion, aprapyamam navartante mityu sangsaravartmani. They don't attain me and they return to this path of birth and death. So this is the choice. You know, where to place our faith. So Srila Prabhupada came, he gave us these books, he showed by his life itself that he was absolutely convinced. He was telling us, I'm experiencing Krishna at every moment, he's real, and here's this mantra. You try the mantra. You try. Everyone, whoever was seriously chanting about it, yes, there's something going on there. Let me continue investigating this and reading. Krishna's by his holy name, he's giving us an experience of himself. And if we actually follow the instructions, more and more he'll reveal this to himself. We can know him. So this, he knows everything in the past, everything in now, and everything in the future, but me no one knows. So if we have that faith, this is the person. Now, there's one other point before, and we have to end in a few minutes. This whole idea of surveillance, was it, I forgot his name from yesterday, it shows my, oh boy. The guy who went off to Russia who revealed that the NSA is spying on us. You remember this from last night? Snowden. Is it Richard Snowden? Edward Snowden. Right. Snowden, okay. So that was a big shocker, right? I mean, people don't want to be surveilled all the time, nothing is secret. So why is it so disturbing? Because we don't trust that the people who are snooping into our business really have our best interests at heart. They want to try to exploit us, right? Or repress us or something, That's why in the Constitution it says you're not allowed to, unless you have probable cause, you're not supposed to arrest anyone or something like that. But Krishna, we learn right off the bat that he's in everyone's heart. He knows everything that's happened in the past, including everything that's happening to us. So now the question is, we have to have faith in Krishna, that he has our best interest in heart, right? This is why we can accept that. He's trying to do good for us. He has everything. What does he need us for? All that, the only reason why he would come here is to help us. Not for his own pleasure. He's having a ball up in Goloka Vrindavan. What does he come here for? Because we're his children. He has this unbreakable bond with us, which we've forgotten, but he hasn't. So he's coming here to save us, to give us real dharma, to annihilate the miscreants, to protect the devotees, awaken our faith, give us a taste of bliss, so we'll come back home. Come on home, So therefore, because if we really have faith that God has everything and is completely powerful, the only reason he would come and speak this is for our benefit. So we have to have that trust, and with that faith, we can practice bhakti. We can do the things that we need, beginning with the holy name, chanting the holy name. See, everyone can do it. And if we just, do it with some faith and sincerity and determination, we will experience the blessings and more revelation of Krishna. Read the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya has come. Krishna has come as Lord Chaitanya, giving prema out. The most valuable gift. And what's the price for the holy name? Your faith. That's the idea. Okay, we'll adjourn and we'll have a nice kirtan and then prasadam. Don't leave without prasadam. Hare Krishna.